Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here with another layout using my Hello Summer stash kit. And I'm just going through and showing you the different bits and pieces that I pulled for this layout. For this one, we are going to first start out with, once I finish showing you everything that I pulled, we are going to do some mixed media on our background. So I'm just kind of going through the rest of the embellishments here that I pulled. I have to say this layout, I stick to a pretty aqua, turquoise, and white and a little bit of black color scheme. So a lot of those embellishments don't actually get used, but you'll see that here as we go. So I have a piece of paper. It actually looks like it's all one color. It's kind of got an ombre look to it, and it is a piece of pattern paper. And I'm using that for my background, and I'm matting it on a piece of paper from the pier. And first, what I am doing here is I'm taking this stencil, and it's from the Crafter's Workshop, and it's just a whole lot of little circles, little teeny tiny circles. And so I'm taking some of this. This is something I got at Tuesday Morning, and it's a teal sort of stencil paint paste kind of. It's not super thick, it's very creamy and light. I don't know if it's it's definitely not a modeling paste. It's kind of like a paint. And anyway, I'm putting that through the stencil. And then I'm taking some of this, I believe that is Oh Say Can You See colorings from Shimmers, and I just put some ink splotches on the background, and I just set it off to the side to dry. It doesn't take very long. That paste, like I said, is very light, so it did not take very long for my background to dry. But while it was drying, I did decide to go ahead and just cut up all of my pattern papers that I pulled. And for this layout, we are actually going to use the We Are Memory Keepers frame tool that you see there beside me. And I'm just going to quickly demonstrate. I didn't do this in real time, but I'm just going to quickly demonstrate here me creating one of the little frames from this tool. And if you would like an actual tutorial where I actually go through in real time and actually show how to use this, just go ahead and leave me a note in the comments, and I'll be happy to put a quick video together just kind of walking you through the way this board works. You kind of play with it a little bit to get that wider bottom frame to make it look like a Polaroid, which was kind of the look I was going for. And so I went ahead and I just showed that first one, and then I took the rest of my pattern papers and I went ahead and cut those all out as frames. And then I'm just going and cutting from my other pattern papers a backing for each one of the frames. And I did go ahead and take my photo and I cut that down and put that inside one of the actual frames that I showed at the beginning, which is a Pebbles frame that I got at Tuesday Morning in a whole package. And here, I thought this was kind of fun. I actually had this offcut of all these letters when I had actually die cut them from one of my past layouts the other week. And I kept the negative of all of those letters, and I love the way it looks, all those alphabets. So I went ahead and decided I'm going to use that. It was the perfect colors for this layout. And then I just took a piece of scrap paper that I had played with some watercolors on, and I just cut that and backed it in behind those letters. And I really liked the way that looked. So that made my other sort of frame backing. And here you see I'm just going to start laying out my layout. This layout comes together pretty fast once I went ahead and made all of those frames and backed them. That is sort of the majority of this layout. I don't do a whole lot of extra embellishing because those frames sort of make a big enough impact. And you'll see here when I add my title and everything else that I really didn't need to do a whole lot more, because with the texture and things in the background and then these frames and whatever and whatnot, it really fills up the page, and if I add too much it becomes extremely busy. So I'm kind of just auditioning and playing with some different things. I'm using a lot of the chipboard from that chipboard sheet you see there, and so I'm layering up all of the photos, or all of the frames. My photo goes right in the middle of those. And I'm just taking one of these printable labels, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. I plan to use these different bits and pieces for sort of base layers for my little clusters. So I will have a cluster that goes off there. Actually, I'm playing with a cluster that's off to the left, I should say, and you'll see in the end that that cluster actually doesn't stay, but I'm thinking this whole time that it is going to stay there. This layout, I was really indecisive in what I wanted to put where and how everything was going to look, so I definitely fiddled around with the placement of items for this layout for quite a while. So I think here I'm, again, like I said, I'm thinking, and I decided that before I did anything else that I really needed to glue down those frames so that they would stop moving and I could sort of get an idea of really what I wanted to do for this layout. So on this layout, I decided my title is going to be Meet Me in the Sunshine, and I'm using that from the thicker sheet. I believe it was from an Amy Tan line from a couple years ago. So that is my main title, but then in the frame to the left beside my photo, I actually have a sort of a subtitle that says the best talks happen, or the best kind of talks happen in the pool, or something like that. And I have that as a subtitle because the picture is actually a picture of my son and my and his grandpa, so my dad, in the pool, and they have the best conversations in the pool. They're too cute. My son will swim around for a while, and then eventually he'll get on his little floaty noodle in the pool, and he and his grandfather will just chat, and they'll just talk, and it's the cutest thing. They have the best conversations that happen in the pool. And so this is what this layout is documenting, sort of their little relationship, that they have this thing that when they're in the pool, they're kidding around with each other, and they're just having a great time. So here you can just kind of see I'm kind of just playing with bits and pieces and trying this up there and that up there. And like I said, that cluster in the top left doesn't actually stay. I kind of lay out a whole bunch of stuff and then decide, yeah, okay, I don't like it. And then once I did that, I just went and said, okay, I like where the title is. I like my subtitle. I had that little set of shorts and whatnot on the frame to the right of the photo. I moved it to the left by the subtitle, and then I'm taking that little tag that I had up in the top left, and I'm moving that to the other side of the frame on the right beside the photo. So I ended up moving the cluster sort of from the top left of the page to that frame on the bottom right. And so here you see, again, I'm looking at it. I'm still not really 100% happy with it. I'm thinking, do I want to use this little brad that says summer, but I don't end up using it. But I just keep looking at the layout and just I can't decide. I don't like it. So I walked away, and then I go ahead and I came back, and I actually decided, scary thing, I actually decide here in a second, and I don't really know, I didn't realize I turned it on before I started, but I actually decided I was going to rip the paper, and I'm pointing to the two corners. I do go ahead and rip the paper, and I end up really liking this detail, and you just see the background paper showing up in those two spots, and the paper on the back of that teal blue that I'm using for the background is actually yellow. So I end up taking as a last sort of detail some yellow enamel dots just to add that little pop from where I ripped the papers, and you'll see that in the still photos at the end. But that is how this layout came together. So with that, we are done, and you can take a look at the still photos here now, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.